Throw candy.
It is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum. We'll call the City Council meeting to order. First items on the agenda is our invocation given by Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Tierney, and then pledge to both the American and Texas flags by Councilman Watts.
Please rise. Join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Let's join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Next item on the agenda is the Visitor Citizen Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. I do have several cards here, so we'll start. If you do, when you come forward, if you would just state your name and give your address, please. Start with Candy Wade, please.
Hi, good evening. I'm Candy Wade, 6 Horseshoe Drive, Highland Village, Texas. And I represent a group called Senior Standing Tall, and this is the week of Fall Prevention Awareness Week. And the goal of our group is to educate the public on hazards in the community and educate the seniors on how to prevent falls. I have a calendar of events that we have going at all the senior centers, the hospital, and the YMCA. And I don't know if you know this, but every 18 seconds, a senior is treated in the ER room in the United States due to a fall, and every 35 minutes, a senior dies due to a fall-related injury. And the Centers of Disease Control, the CDC, has declared this a national epidemic. And so what we're doing in Louisville is trying to get the word out. And I know your senior center is wonderful. We have classes there all the time. And these are free. I'm a master trainer and a certified coach for Matter of Balance, the 8-week course. So if I could give you some calendars to hand out, and with your permission, could I put some on the table so people in the audience, if for yourself or any family members, just pick them up. Everything is free.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next we have Dwayne Yelton.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Dwayne Yelton. I live at 11 Oak Brook Drive. If you go out Mill Street, just as far as you can possibly go till you hit water, you're a stone's throw from our neighborhood. The reason I'm here before you tonight is would like to bring a problem to your attention. And in a nutshell, when I'm through with this, what we'd hope to come away with is a little bit of a sense of direction, and ideally, maybe we could in some way partner with the city of Louisville to help us solve this problem. Our neighborhood is served by a private sewage lift station. My understanding is that this lift station was installed decades ago when there were just a very few units down there. In subsequent years, More homes have been built, and that same lift station serves twice the homes or more than it did originally. And again, it's a private lift station. I'm kind of new at this. Neighborhoods I've lived all my life, I didn't have to think about sewage. I came home and did what I do and never had to give it a second thought, but that sure isn't the case where we live. There are part of the problem is there's 3 HOAs that are served by this lift station, but it's only owned by one. It's wholly owned by another association. We have several members of our group here tonight that are interested enough to be here and be concerned and be helpful if possible. This lift station is near the end of its life, arguably. It has chronic problems. There are failures on weekends of heavy use, especially holiday weekends. There are backups into homes sometimes. The operator of the HOA that owns the lift station is an accountant by trade. I spoke with the Corps of Engineers back in the springtime and was sharing some of our problems with them, asking them if there was any help they could give us because they have jurisdiction over the lake, which is just 100 yards away. And he said, what on earth why are you being allowed to even operate a lift station? He said, that's unheard of in this day and time. And I didn't have an answer for that. It is what it is, and we're faced with this challenge of fixing this problem. The operator of the station, I've got a letter in front of me that he wrote to his own board back in July, and it states we are so far out of code that we must have the system monitored on a daily basis. They are doing that, and it is true. This same individual, the different HOAs are talking back and forth about the issues with this lift station, and there's some conflict, some friction between us, and in some part we're dealing with each other by attorneys. And it's really affected the quality of life in our neighborhood. When I drove home today, all I did was think about this lift station and giving this talk tonight and what the ramifications might be, the possibilities, the solutions. What I really wish I could think about or worry about on the way home is who's going to catch the biggest fish tonight, out on the lake. So it's really affected the quality of life. Pitting neighbor versus neighbor, where we otherwise might be good friends. We have this friction going on because of this darn lift station. There's a number of potential possibilities. I'll just touch on a couple of them. There may be grant money available. We have some of the people in our organization investigating that, but it's a little bit of, there's some uncertainty since we don't actually own the facility, just what we might be able to achieve there. So we're hoping that, again, we can get some input from the city of Louisville and discuss some potential solutions that maybe we haven't thought of. Your organization has engineers and people that are knowledgeable in this area, and we really do need your help. This is we've got something that's a big problem for us, and we'd love to get it off our back after all this time. I think we've got another member of our group going to speak to you a little bit more about it, Buddy Sharp. Thank you so much for hearing me tonight. Thank you.
Buddy Sharp.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I've only lived in Oak Brook for about 3 years now, but we've run into a major problem here. And I called Mayor Euchert about it about 3 weeks ago because I'm concerned that the whole thing's getting ready to blow up down there. We have 3 associations, as Dwayne just mentioned, and our lift station's being run by one man who has decided it's his own little kingdom. He is supposed to be putting things out for bids. He's not doing it. He's telling us that the city of Louisville is requiring certain things. City of Louisville says they're not. The bottom line is, in the last 3 or 4 days, this really has blown up. The only scenario that's going to work here is if the city gets involved and helps us come up with a scenario that puts this station in control by people that know what they're doing. And we don't have that right now. We have a bunch of homeowners trying to do their best, but they can't do it. And the bottom line is, at some point in time, I fear we're going to have sewer rolling into the lake. And when we do, it's not just going to be a black eye for us. It's going to be a black eye for the city of Louisville. This has gone on since 1972, approximately. How the present HOA that is in charge of this got in charge of it, we'll never understand, because they're not the ones that built the station originally. This place has gone through bankruptcy at least twice, if not 3 different times. We have, let's see, approximately 67 units out there at this point in time, and no one individual board is in control. And if something doesn't happen, there's going to be a total meltdown out there right now. As Dwayne alluded to, everybody's lawyering up at this point in time. Well, what's going to happen the next time the lift station breaks down? And that could be tomorrow. We need your help. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have somebody from the city get in touch with you.
We have a meeting scheduled already.
I'm sorry?
We have a meeting scheduled.
Okay. City manager said he already has a meeting scheduled with y'all to go over some of those issues. Also here in support but did not want to speak is Leslie Sharp, Mecca Henry, Craig Widener, John Michael and his wife Sandra Michael, excuse me, Laura Stanley, Carol Berg, and Ronald Berg, here in support but did not wish to speak.
Mayor, I think Steve's in the process of setting up a meeting. It's not set yet.
Okay. He's in the process, our Assistant City Manager, Steve Back, is in the process of setting up a meeting to get with y'all, see how he can work with you on that. Thank you. Okay, next we have Carol Tomkovich. Maybe it's Tom Cords, I'm sorry. Tomkovich, I had it right first, I left it alone.
Hi, my name is Carol Tomkovich, and I've lived in Valley Vista Estates for 20 years at 2038 Broadcliff. As you are aware, residents, representatives of the city, and representatives of the drillers are working on a set of changes to our drilling ordinance. Louisville is well below average in many of its setbacks. Applications to the city made before the new ordinance are to take effect are grandfathered in under the old ordinance. Drillers are continuing to submit applications to get in under the old rules. Just today, an application was submitted to the Texas Railroad Commission for a drill site directly across from Memorial Park in a highly residential area and a park area that is used by many residents. There are fresh water wells very close to that area, and there are some residents that only have well water. They do not have a city water hookup. The proposed well is less than 250 feet from a lease owner's home, and it's my understanding that she is going to continue to live there during the drilling process. If it is even possible to enact a temporary moratorium tonight or tomorrow, it will be possible to get this application and other applications to the city in under the new rules. The longer you wait, the more application that will be submitted under the old rules. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. R. Neil Ferguson.
My name is Neil Ferguson. I live at 1097 Holly Lane in Louisville. I've lived there for 21 years. A team of city staff, drillers, and citizens chaired by Tim Ippolito will meet again this Friday. Unlike the acrimonious gas drilling clash that we have seen in a neighboring town, this group has already demonstrated that they can work very well together and have already drafted several recommended changes to city code to protect the welfare of Louisville citizens. Our continued goal is to present via city staff to council a much improved set of oil and gas ordinances and to present it with the endorsement of all 3 groups hand in hand. But the lack of a drilling moratorium and the threat of yet another grandfathered permit is frankly incomprehensible. Councilman Durham, Karina, Watts, you are elected to fairly represent the welfare of Louisville citizens. It's time to do it.
L. Jean Ferguson.
I am L. Jean Ferguson, and I live at 1097 Holly Lane in Louisville. I'm here tonight to express my support for Louisville neighbors for responsible urban drilling and my displeasure with the City Council for its failure to enact a 120-day moratorium on gas drilling permit applications. This moratorium would help to level the playing field between citizens and drillers as they work through recommended improvements to Louisville's O&G code. Please approve a moratorium soon and allow this committee to work unthreatened by yet more grandfathered gas permits. Allow citizens the best code protection that this committee of drillers, citizens, and city staff are now preparing. Thank you.
Carla Scott.
Hi, I'm Carla Scott. I live at 2014 Briarcliff Road in Louisville, and I would just echo my friends that just were up here before me and would also just plead with you to please do an emergency moratorium, which apparently we need now in light of what happened today with the whatever Carol said. So we would just appreciate it. I'm a citizen who cares and would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Kyle Scott. Thank you, sir. Okay, in accordance with Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, anticipated litigation regarding CoServe Electric, we will now convene into executive session. Back in a few. Okay, convene us back into regular session. Is there any action to be taken, council?
You want to do this now or wait until that item?
Go ahead and do it now.
Okay. Mayor, after consulting with the city attorney, I make a motion that we table item number 14 until the next city council meeting, the October 4th meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table item number 14 till the next meeting, which is October 4th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Next item is consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. Did not have any cards filled out. So, Councilman Durham?
Mayor, move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, consideration of a final plat of the Storage Supercenter Addition lots 3R and 4R, Block A, 3.239 acre parcel zoned light industrial and warehouse located on the northeast quadrant of Main Street and Business Highway 121, with one plat related variance and 2 site plan related variances to the Louisville City Code, Section 6-103, access management, as requested by the owner of Lot 3R. The subject property is being replatted for the purpose of constructing a quick trip gas station and convenience store. The applicant has applied for a plat related variance, A, to allow a 220-foot control of access on Business 121 in lieu of the required 250 feet, and a 163-foot control of access on Main Street in lieu of the required 250 feet. The applicant has also applied for 2 site plan related variances as follows. B, to allow driveway spacing as low as 60 feet along Business Highway 121 in lieu of the required 230 feet required for major traffic carriers, and C, to allow a modified median opening at 400 feet spacing along Business Highway 121 in lieu of the required 1,320 foot spacing for median openings along major traffic carriers. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the plat and variance A 7-0 at their September 2nd, 2010 meeting. The recommendation of staff is that the council approve the final plat of the Storage Center addition of lots 3R and 4R, Block A, and the requested variances as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Grena?
If no one has any discussion on it, I'd like to make the motion to approve the requested variances as you have set forth.
Have a motion by Councilman Grena to approve.
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9 is consideration of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2009-2010 adopted budget and consideration of supplemental appropriations to the Arts Center capital project from the TIF bond available cash in the amount of $138,657 and to the Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park capital project from 4B 2007 bond available cash in the amount of $426,768. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend the fiscal year 2009-2010 adopted budget to include all supplements and changes approved by council throughout the year. A large percentage of these appropriations include the routine supplement completed each year for prior year encumbrances that overlap into the next fiscal year. Others relate to actions taken to fund unbudgeted items during the year. This ordinance will also authorize new supplements to the Debt Service Fund, Utility Fund, and the Health Fund. The supplement to the Arts Center will be used for equipment purchases, and the supplement to the Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park will purchase shade shelters, spectator seating, fencing, signage, installation of gates and signage, and the remainder will enable bond interest money, which is limited to this purpose, to be used in place of General 4B capital project cash. The recommendation is council approve the ordinance amending fiscal year 2009-2010 budget and approve the supplemental appropriations as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Watts?
Move to approve.
Have a motion by Councilman Watts to approve, a second by Councilman Tierney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excuse me. I beg your pardon. Councilor, would you read that, please? I beg your pardon.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the previously adopted and approved budget ordinance for the fiscal year October 1st, 2009 to September 30th, 2010, by providing supplemental appropriations to the various funds, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilor. Item 10 is consideration of an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2010-2011 operating budget and consideration of a resolution authorizing the overfilling of certain positions in fiscal year 2010-2011. The proposed operating budget for all funds has been prepared by staff and reviewed by the City Council. Approval of this ordinance adopts an operating budget for all funds beginning October 1, 2010 and ending September 30, 2011. A draft budget document is available for public review at the City Secretary's office, the library, and on the City website. The overfill resolution authorizes the City Manager to hire up to 2 additional police officers, 1 additional community service officer, and 1 additional public safety call taker over the fiscal year 2010-2011 authorized number of positions to alleviate understaffing caused by turnover. Recommendation is that council approve the proposed ordinance and resolution as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, move to approve per the recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Grano. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I beg your pardon, ma'am. I'm sorry. Thank you, Councilor.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, adopting and approving a budget for the City of Louisville, Texas, for the year beginning October 1st, 2010, and ending September 30th, 2011, providing for an effective date and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm sorry, Councilor. Item 11 is consideration of ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2010-2011 tax rate. This action will adopt the city's annual ad valorem tax rate for all taxable property at 0.44021 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. The rate combines the following: maintenance and operations, 0.32289 cents, and principal and interest on debt, 1.11732, for a total tax rate of 0.44021 cents. The total proposed tax rate for the fiscal year 2010-2011 remains the same as the 2009-2010 tax rate. Recommendation is that council approve the proposed ordinance adopting the 2010-2011 tax rate. Councilman Thornhill.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Thornhill, a second by Councilman Guarino. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, establishing the tax rate and tax levy for the City of Louisville, Texas, for the year 2010-2011 upon all taxable property in said city in conformity with the laws of the State of Texas and the charter provisions and all ordinances of said city, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 is consideration of ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 2, Article 8, Section 2-201 fee schedule. As part of the annual budget process, council approved changes to the fee schedule that were based on an analysis of current charges as compared to cost recovery goals, authorized charges that may no longer be applicable, and new fees. The recommendation is council approve the ordinance. City Manager, would you kind of go over that a little bit and discuss that about where we are in comparison?
Well, every year when we look at these fees, we take a look at where we stand with respect to other cities, and if it's not a city competitor, charges for certain things. The bulk of the substance here is in new fees related to the Arts Center, and of course there's not much to compare against there, so Jim Ware has put together some fees that are based on his experience there, and we'll, I'm sure, be tweaking those at some point in the future, but this gets him at least started. We've got the other major change would be in the building permit-related fees, where we're restructuring from a historic structure based on value to one that is set on the square footage and has a significant incentive for those who submit plans in electronic form. And we looked at the results that would generate based on historic applications that we've received in the past, and at the gross level, it would produce slightly more revenue than we would have produced using the old structure. However, again, those fees were found to be considerably lower than the bulk of our survey cities, and by changing the structure, we're still going to be to the low to middle range of those cities, so we think that those are reasonable. And of course, that's what we based the budget on, was that change in structure and the associated slight increase in revenue throughout the course of the projected year. There's some additional new fees for special events on Western Day, exhibitor tents and spaces, some restructuring of fees in the Parks Department. We've got, in addition, some restructuring and removing of fees for oil and gas. It's really more just moving it from one ordinance to another ordinance, so it's all in a fee ordinance. And if there's any other detail, I'd be happy to go over it with you or call on staff.
All right, thanks, sir. Councilman Tierney?
I have nothing, Mayor. If nobody else does, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion by Councilman Tierney to approve.
Second.
Second by Councilman Watts.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the Louisville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Section 2-201, fee schedule, with various fees charged by several departments of the city, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13 is the third and final reading, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 8 of the Louisville City Code by prohibiting the use, purchase, possession, and sale of the synthetic cannabinoid or Salvia divinorum, distributed, sold, and marketed under many street names, the most common of which is K2. At the August 16, 2010 City Council meeting, the Council approved the subject ordinance. However, due to a lack of a 4/5 vote by the Council to adopt the ordinance on an emergency basis, the ordinance has to be read on 3 separate days to meet the city charter requirements. This will be the third and final reading. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 8 of the Louisville City Code by prohibiting the use, purchase, possession, and sale of the synthetic cannabinoid known or sold under such names as Spice, Genie, Descents, Zohai, Sage, K2, and KO Knockout 2 for public health purposes, providing a defense, providing for a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, and providing an effective date.
Tabled item number 14. Item 15 is consideration of request for variances to the Louisville City Code, Chapter 15, parking regulations, allowing residents of Timber Creek Acres at 908, 910, 918, 920, 924, and 926 Timber Creek Drive and 1809 Valley Parkway, whose homes were damaged by flooding, to occupy recreational trailers on premise for a period of time not to exceed 60 days while their homes are repaired. On September 8, 2010, significant flooding occurred from severe rainfall in several areas of Louisville. Several homes in the Timber Creek area, subdivision, and surrounding area were damaged by flooding. Currently, the residents affected are salvaging belongings, working with the insurance providers, contractors, and the city building code divisions to restore their homes. It may be the desire of some of the residents to occupy their property in order to be closer to the cleanup and repair, as well as protect their belongings. The residents may utilize recreational trailers until such time as their homes are repaired for a period not to exceed 60 days. recommendation is that council approve the requested variance and waive variance fees as set forth in the caption above. I do have several people here who would like to speak. First, start with John Dykeman, or Diekman. If you would just state your name and address, please.
Pardon me?
If you would just state your name and address.
My name is John Diekman, and I live at 910 Timber Creek Drive. I am one of the residents that was flooded. I was not the worst in height and water, but I was probably pretty close to the top of the damage. We live in a flood zone. We know that. We're insured. You know, it's all good. As for the 60 days, I don't know, honestly, if that's going to be long enough. Everything in our house from your waist down is missing. We've pretty much lost everything we own. I'm thinking 90 days would be probably closer to it, a realistic number. I have pictures of the flood and everything. I don't know if you guys have any idea. I know I saw one of the council members at the flood when it happened, and it's really time for the city to step up and do something about this, because I'm literally in my bed. I'm 15 feet from the creek now. I've lost 25 feet over the last 10 years I've lived there, and it's only going to take one or two more little things like this, and we're going to have a huge problem. I mean, we've already got a huge problem, but anything that you guys can do, it'd be appreciated, and I'd like y'all to copy these and take a look at it and see what you can do for us, because we're in a bad way.
Okay.
There are going to be some trailers, that are going to have to be brought in for safety. We have had stuff come up missing already. And me personally, I mean, I don't know how much stuff I have there, but it's probably a couple $100,000 worth of stuff with my, contents, and I collect old vehicles. So everything that's in a barn is susceptible to someone stealing it. So anything you can do for us, Mr. Durham used to live right up the street from us. He knows the area very well. He knows it's prone to flooding, and anything that we can do is, we're ready to do it. If that means buying me out, I'm more than willing to move. I love the city. I love that street. I love everything about it. All my neighbors, I've got 6 of my neighbors here. I wouldn't give them up for the world, but if it's going to happen again, I'm gone. I don't have a choice. I'm too close. I'm done. But I'd like to leave these. Sure. If you can copy them, I do need them back, but if you can leave them, I appreciate it.
Sure. I'll have somebody try to give us a copy of that and then get back to you. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, sir. You take care of it. Raymond Lewis.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, members of council. I've been in the Louisville area now for 17 years and in the Dallas area for over 32. So I live at 920 Timber Creek Drive, and unfortunately we were the victims of a tropical storm, which dumped a lot of rain in our vicinity. So with that said, I know that there's a few things with all the flooding and stuff that went on, but the other issue I have is now on the opposite side of the bank, just opposite of my property line, there has been a mudslide that has reduced the basically the channel. It's minimized it probably over 50% of what it was before, along with the trees and things that have fallen over with the water flow. Now, this has a concern for me because eventually we will receive more rainfall, and these things will move with the water and restrict the flow of the creek and probably cause more damage somewhere back upstream. So that's one thing I would like to have addressed here, is to be able to look at that and be able to have someone with the city come down there and take a look at it and see whether or not that can be removed prior to another major rainstorm. But and I do agree I don't think the 60 days for the trailer might not be long enough, because it might be 30 days before the insurance is finally even start to come through, as far as I do have structural, which is mandated by the mortgage company, and I also have contents, which is a personal issue there. But just between everything that it gets sorted out, I know for a fact it's going to be minimum 30 days for all the insurances and all that stuff to get stuff, then the reconstruction process on top. So I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
We'll have somebody get in contact with you about the mud slide over there.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Shirley Glidewell. Okay. Okay, thank you. You're in support of the ordinance. Okay, thank you. And Becky Freeman, are you wanting to speak also? Yes, sir.
Becky Freeman, 926 Timber Creek. I'm the one that got flooded first. I have 3 to 4 feet of water inside of my home. This has been an ongoing issue. There was an erosion study done on the creek, but the problem is we're having flooding. And one of the problems right now that we have an issue with, there's a city-owned lot that is 2 doors down from me, has 2 down trees that are across the creek that are now forming a dam. They have been down for 12 days. And no one has even come by from the city to clear this up. There's also additional trees that are, again, going across the creek, so again, forming dams. Where weather forecast is for rain in a few days, we're going to flood more people down line from the creek. And also, we haven't even cleaned up what we have right now, and we may be flooded again. I'm at the bend of the creek and have the most creek frontage. Where I had a bend where there was a big area where the bass, I had bass in my backyard, the bass would be in there, is now filled with all this sand and from runoff from up the creek. So now the level, instead of being over my head, which you say I'm short, but it was way over my head, is now only knee deep. So the creek has actually moved the sand from up creek down, which is going to be more of a problem in the future rains. We also have a problem where the city did some repair work on a sewer line across the street at my neighbor's, and they never put, they repaired it, but never put any sod or anything. All that sand washed across the street and into my driveway, and again is going down into the creek. So, you're starting things, but you're not finishing them. You need to do upkeep on the lot, which is owned by the city. My neighbors are taking turns mowing the lot to keep it up to our standards as homeowners to keep our properties and neighborhood where it is pleasant for everybody. We need not erosion studies, we need flood studies. We need you to go in there and fix the creek because we're going to be flooded out again. I, on my own, have built a wall that is enclosing the back of my house. I had it reinforced. It's like a patio area, so it's very appealing to the eye, but it's built as a dam. It's thick and reinforced. The height of that is this high on my shoulder. It went over my wall and flooded the house out. All that I had downstairs on my first floor is gone. Everything was floating inside the house. Everything on the first floor is not usable anymore. The doors warped, everything is warped. The smell is horrific. You go in and the smell is just knock you over. It smells like a sewer in there. Because, again, everything is washing down from upstream and collecting in our area. But we need help and we don't need these erosion studies. We need you to fix the creek before we get flooded out again. And we need you to keep up the city-owned lot and clear the creek of all these trees. And I mean immediately clear these trees, because 12 days is, I think, an ample time to request you to clear the trees out of the creek that are causing dams. Also, we have a problem. I filed a police report. I've not filled one, but I have filled 2 of the large dumpsters with all my furniture and belongings. Before we were able to load some of the belongings from the yard into the dumpster, someone helped themselves to an antique sewing machine. It was going to be trashed, but it's now gone. If they're going to help themselves to items, already stealing items that are going to be trashed, what are they going to steal that is not going to be trashed? So we already have had thefts, and I personally have experienced theft of items where we never used to even have to lock our doors there. We all know each other. We know each other's names. We know each other's phone numbers. We all this is an old community where we don't have fences, and we walk through each other's yards, and we're not afraid to. And we need your help to keep it this way. So I'm requesting help fix the creek and do extra patrols. 60 days, that's not long enough. The damage is so extensive. 60 days is not going to cut it. I feel that, personally, I think I'm going to be out of my home for 6 months. And that's being realistic because, again, I sustained the most damage. Thank you.
Councilman Tierney.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve with the exception of changing 60 days to 90 days. And if that's not long enough, certainly come back and extend it for as long as we need to.
Second. I have a motion by Councilman Tierney to approve the ordinance with the exception of extending, instead of the 60 days, extend that up to, change that to 90 days. And if that's not long enough, if you'll come back, let us know. We'll look at, on case by case, look at extending the time period.
I'll second that.
I have a second by Councilman Thornhill. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all for coming, and I'm so sorry for your loss and your inconvenience. I know it's not something fun. I've known a lot of people that lived in your neighborhood for years, including one of our former mayors, Ann Pomacall, who lived right across the street. And I know that's right, and the Fergusons, that's right. And our current council member lived there also, so we know the area well, and we'll work with you on that. Thank you for coming. Once again, I'm sorry for your loss. And reports. Bob, like I told you a little earlier, had some really good comments and kudos about our wonderful Toyota Railroad Park, just how wonderful it is. And these were from people that were from out of town here watching friends of theirs, people play ball in it, and they were just amazed how nice the park was. We want to again congratulate you on that. Chief? No softball games tonight? That's our softball king right there, Chief Diddle. That's our softball king. Linda? Chief Curbo?
No, sir.
Nothing? Carol?
Nothing new.
Nothing new. Donna?
Yes, sir. This weekend is our Western Days Festival, so we want to make sure we invite everyone to come out and join us because this year is going to be a 2-day event. So we'll be kicking off this event Friday at 5 o'clock. It'll go to 10 o'clock on Friday night, and then from 10 to 10 the next day. We have a really exciting lineup of performers this year. Friday night, we have the mayor's favorite, La Freak, It's Mine Too. They perform at 6:30. We also have Kevin Fowler at 8:30. On Saturday, the parade time has changed. The parade is at noon this year, so I want to make sure everybody notes that. The tamale eating contest is at 1:15, and we have some of the national eating winners, national champion eaters that will be at this year's event. And most excitingly, we have Cross Canadian Ragweed performing at 8:30. So we do encourage everyone to come out and enjoy a great festival.
Thank you. Brenda? Mr. Ferris? Mr. Backus? Councilman Durham?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Guarina?
I just wanted to thank the chief, police there, Chief Curbo, about the Campus Crew event they do every year at Louisville North. We were honored by having the BMX bike team do some neat stunts in that gymnasium. I was surprised they got it done, and they had some really good life lessons to teach the kids. So, Chief, kudos. Good work.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Watts?
Just echo what Councilman Guarina said. I was happy to be able to be there, and it was a good event. And I also just want to thank the staff on the work on the budget and all that goes into that. That budget workshop was a long day, and I know how much work goes into before we get there that day, and it makes our job a little easier doing that, especially in this economic climate. So thanks to everybody who worked on that. And on the Western Day, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that our Western Day Festival is, if it's not the last, it's one of the last tour dates that Cross Canadian Ragweed is going to play, because they announced they're going to stop touring.
That is correct. It's when I think it's the last Texas performance.
So if you're a Cross Canadian Ragweed fan, it's one of your last chances to see them live for a while. Come on down.
Mr. King?
No, sir.
Councilman Thornhill?
No, sir.
Councilman Tierney?
Mayor, I just want to thank you and for inviting me to Grape Fest this week. This is our second time that me and the mayor have stomped grapes. And last year we got third place. This year we won first place. Except for the city of Colleyville went home with the trophy, but they cheated. And I know it because I was standing right next to the mayor of Colleyville while he did it.
And they did announce it. The cheating Colleyville team won.
And Mayor Euchre did have another outstanding performance on stage that will make everybody proud in the city of Louisville. I have that on videotape, and I'm just going to sit on it in case I ever need it.
YouTube.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I got.
Liz? Anything? Julie? Anything? Once again, I also want to say thank you to Mayor Tate and the city of Grapevine for hosting us. There was like 15 different cities that they invited to come over and do the mayoral grape stomp, and it's just a kind of a fundraising celebrity event there that they have to increase, promote their facility, their festival. And I can tell you, it is one of the I think it's the largest attended festival in the state of Texas. And I left because it was real hot when we were doing the deal. I went home, cleaned up, came back later with my wife and went. And I can tell you that evening, I've never seen so many families out there enjoying themselves and just having a good time. It was very family-oriented, and I look forward to ours becoming a similar event because the same gentleman that's been running that event for Grapevine, the promoter, has been running ours. So I believe this is his fourth year. This will be his fourth year, and he's modeling it at this and South Lakes and the city of Fort Worth, some of their events. And we look forward to this being a great attended event, and it's going to be a family affair where people can come down and really enjoy themselves. And God willing, we'll get a little bit of a temperature break this weekend and be a little bit nicer. But with that, in accordance to
Texas law.
Texas law. In accordance to Section 551.072, property acquisition, and Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, will now convene into executive session. Thank you. Let me off for a couple of times. I'm sorry? Oh, pop quiz.
We don't have, yeah, we do.
Don't have anything.
Got a quick control.
We're getting up there in age.
Convene back in regular session. Is there any action to be taken?
No, sir.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Watts, second by Councilman Tierney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Safety in the bathroom.